Hi guys, today I have Spellbinders' new APG for October of 2021. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's the Flourished Fleurit. Usually in French, if it's a French word, you don't really pronounce the T, but I'm not sure if it's Fleurit or just Fleurit. Either way, beautiful die set. So Spellbinders did send this item free of charge for my review, and of course all opinions are my own, and any links in the description box will be for the club kits and then basic items I use, and those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. You know, I did a little unboxing, kind of a preview of this when I showed the card kit and unboxing of that. Just beautiful. So I'll talk about this in just a minute. I'm also probably going to pair it with the clear stamp of the month, and I think a lot of times I'll mention, but people just didn't hear it, so hopefully you'll hear it. The clear stamp is a photopolymer stamp set. So whenever, you know, Spellbinders, usually most, I wouldn't say all of them, because I'm not sure, I haven't all the info, of course, of all their stamps that they've ever made, but they're normally photopolymer, right? If you're picking up like a stamp set on their website. Unless marked otherwise, you know. And in the card kit, it's an acrylic set. But these are photopolymer. They smell amazing. They're, you know, nice and firm. Work really well. And this one's called Sending You, I believe, is the name of the kit. And this is for October 2021. Now, for this month, they did come out with a new club that you can sign up for that has the dies that go along with the stamps. And not for every stamp, but, you know, some of the stamps. Unfortunately, it's already sold out for the month, so this time around you can still get the stamp, but you can't get the dies that would go with it if you wanted to sign up for that. But maybe for next month, you know, you have to keep an eye out. Yeah, so I had talked about how this one has, you know, sending you, or, you know, for you, or however you want to play with those words. But all these things that go with it: a big hello, you know, holiday express, special delivery, the best gifts ever, a million thanks, a big congrats, warm holiday wishes, truckload of happiness. So these all go back. If you'd seen the small die of this month, it's so cute. It's a little truck, and it has like different things you can pop in there. I think there's a gift, a Christmas tree, and a pumpkin. And so, you know, a truckload of happiness. All these different things kind of play back to the different sets they came out with this month. So I'll have those as far as for the sentiment for this card. So I kind of showed you guys, of course, everything that's going on here. We have this large frame, and I have samples, so of course they look like this, but you will have your monthly sets on a carrier or in a box if it's like the card kit or however. And on the back it does have some information on how to make a shaped card. I think today I'm going to try to make an easel, which will be really fun. So this is a really large die out here. It's you know, 5x7. Going to make you a card that's 5x7 on these inner dimensions. So we have like a drop-in that we can use here. Actually, I always say that before I look at the lines. If you look at this, it cuts its own thing. So it's not a drop-in, it's not an insert, because if you cut both of these at the same time, you're going to be left with this little skinny line out here, and then this one, you know, that cuts. So nobody needs that little skinny line out here. So we have that larger die. This is its own thing. It's going to cut its own thing with the beautiful swirls there. Now, if you want to make this into like a drop-in or a frame, then you have this piece that would then cut away this middle section. So then you have this really delicate frame piece. Or you can leave it like this, and then the center is, you know, full. It's not cut away. And then you can still cut this out of a different paper and then, you know, layer that in if you would like. However it is that, I mean, there's just lots of ways to play with this. I believe in the sample that they're showing for Spellbinders on the carrier, they ask you to do it a few different ways. So you're going to use this, then you're going to use that one again, you're going to use this outer one with this middle frame cut out, so you have this really small frame, and then another one that's just like this, and then you're going to layer it up that way. But for me, I think today I might use this as a separate piece, you know, that we're going to layer on top of that one, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then we have this centerpiece here that's just an extra just beautiful thing, you know, to play with. So you can use this, or you don't have to use this in the center there, but it has its outline die, and then this is an insert where, as you can see, the edges do not cut unless you place them together. Okay, so this one's a little bit different, the way you can kind of play with that. So you can do a background plus an insert and have the two tones. It has the little flowers. Let me close up a little bit since these guys are a little bit smaller. Sorry about the lighting. Lots of different lighting situations I have going on here. We have the leaves, and then the little cinch it flowers, and the reason I know they're cinch it is because I have a little hole in the center, and it is a very little hole. I know in the past I've talked about how I don't care for dies, flower dies that have that big hole, and I'm talking about like just a huge hole for some reason. These are tiny, and what you do is you can put like a stamen, or, oh, I have some sitting right here. something like this in the center and pull them together, or just put a brad, or don't even use it at all and crunch them up and put hot glue. But either way, it's a small hole, so it easily does what it needs to do. And then we have this little guy, and this one's a little bit different. I always call them like bells. I don't know. This one has this little branch, and then you have these little guys that you can pop in here, you know, at the ends. Really cute. So different ways to play with that. So what I'm going to do is grab some paper. We'll make our card base, the topper, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I have a couple different colors of paper here. I have this beautiful deep kind of red color. I have some gold paper. Play with that a little bit. I think I'm going to use some pattern paper also. So I brought this out. It's the Christmas Traditions pad. I have this here. So this is just some heavyweight kind of cream cardstock. I'll put this to the side for now. This is going to be our card base. Now I can trim this down a little bit if you don't want to, you know, mess with this. So let me just cut a piece of this off. We're going to make a base that's going to be like an easel base. But as you can see, this die is very big. If you want to double it up, that would be 14 inches at least, you know. Maybe a little bit less, but you know, mostly paper is 12 by 12 or 8.5 by 11, so we're not going to do that. But what you can do is also make an easel card that at the top it's going to have the fold, and then wherever this ends, you know, we can plan that out. But for now, just to make it easy, 8.5 by 11, I just cut that piece off on the side there. And I'm going to score this. So if this is 7 inches tall, I'm going to score it like at, I'm just kind of eyeballing this to maximize the paper. Maybe like at 6 3/4 inches, and that'll be the hinge. Maybe a little bit higher. I'll show you what I mean by that. We want it to be pretty much at the 7 inches, so let's say 6 7/8. You could have just eyeballed that for sure. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how long this should be. And so what's going to happen is we're going to have a full piece that's going to be at the bottom, and then this piece here, and it's going to hang off over here. And that's fine, because when the card is closed, you really won't see that back part anyway. And I'm just maximizing my paper that way. If you want to make it shorter, that's up to you, you know, do whatever you like. But I'm going to put this right here, and basically that's our card hinge to make an easel card, okay? So that's why we're doing it this way. Now let me see, I need some tape. It's always right in front of me and I forget. Let me get this here. And this paper's not 100% straight, but that's okay. Alright, let's see here. I'm kind of eyeballing. And I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. Oh, sorry. And I will be right back. Okay, so here's this guy. I'm going to peel this away carefully. So what happens is I use very thick paper, so those, you know, it really pushes the tape into the die. So I will take this away very carefully. That one. And let's get this little guy off of here. Okay. And we'll talk about this in just a minute, because we are going to score it, okay? But not quite yet. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just cut this red paper from this guy. And that's going to be our topper piece, so we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let me just run this through, and I'll be right back. So here's that guy. And I think while we're at it, we'll go ahead and just finish up our die cutting. So we have this guy, and the piece of paper I have is exactly 5 by 7, so this is right on there. I am going to cut this away only because I like to conserve my gold paper. You don't really need this piece cut away, you could just leave it, but I'm going to take it away because then we can use this whole piece of this gold paper for something else. So put it down. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I always let that drop so hard. Okay. I'm just eyeballing this, centering it. It's going to be a very thin, beautiful frame. Put that down more carefully. Alright, I'm going to run this through, And it looks like everything die cuts. I don't think I really need to emboss it, but if you wanted to run it through with some embossing, you know, go for it. It looks like there's some areas that could be embossed, so I don't know if you can see that, like in there, in here. You know, it's up to you. Alright, I will be right back. I think some areas got embossed anyway just because of the pressure of my machine, so that will work. I'm just taking this off very carefully just so I can still use this middle piece for something else. Oh my gosh. Just gorgeous. That is the Flourished Fleurit. I'm trying to be very careful with this because again it's very delicate here. And now I can use this for something else. But again, like I said, even this piece, if you cut it out a different color, then you can just pop it in there. Which is basically what we're going to do with the red, with the other papers. Okay, so I'm going to clean this out. But as you can see, oh my gosh, I mean, just gorgeous. I'll be right back. So you have these different things. Now, you know how I do. I pretty much make things up as I go along. So what I'm going to do is score this card because we have these two. I am going to cut a center, but for now, this guy. So what we can do with this piece here is, you know, score it wherever you like. Again, we could have incorporated some of this length into this edge if you wanted it to be closer to the very edge of the die. But I just did what I did. And I'm going to try to keep this straight. Let me see. I have like a quarter. Let's do like half an inch. You can do an inch. It doesn't matter. It just depends because that's how much it's going to be standing up, right? It just depends. So it looks like I'm doing one, like 5/8 of an inch. This might seem odd to you, but all I'm doing is going to turn this in. And that is what's going to hold on to this guy. And it'll be like this, right? Our easel. Okay? Now, just to make this a little, I mean, we can leave it running just straight up and down. Now, I chose a different color, you know, to go on this topper, but if you chose the same color, it would just blend in because you have beige and beige or red and red or however. But I didn't want the card base, like where you're going to go right, to be red. So that's why I chose different colors here. So what we're going to do is glue these together once we're ready for it. But as you can see, hopefully you can kind of see what's going on here. It'll be like this. And then when the person opens it up, it'll easel out like this. Okay? And so the last thing before we get to like the decorating and the topper parts and all that is get this guy. And I think I'm going to cut it out of this pattern paper. This is very regal, very pretty. Oh my gosh. Now, I want you to notice this is 6-inch paper and this die is bigger than that. But that's okay because what we're going to do is go through it and find paper, which I already think I already found, that we can do that. I mean, if you put it here, you can have it diagonal. That one will work because it's just a pattern that's all over the place. You know, it just depends on what you want to do. Oh, that one's so cute. Oh. You know, I used the dots the other day. But even at this, I mean, if you angle it here, it just would be plaid in the other direction, you know. I think I am going to go with this one, though, because it's just poinsettia is my favorite. Okay. And, you know, if you want to conserve your paper, you can kind of eyeball where you're going to be putting this, and maybe you can do something else with these little pieces. But for now, I'm just kind of trying to get the most poinsettia as I can in this. I think right there is good. I'm going to tape this down, run this through, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys. So we're going to glue these in, and then this is just going to nestle in here. You see? Alright. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put glue on this. If there's any areas that are very small, what I can do, or what I'm going to do, is put glue on the back of my hand. Just like that, kind of flatten it out a little bit with the tip. And I tap, tap, tap it, just so we can make sure to get glue all over, and then I'll just place it in here with like that small amount of shadow background layer. Okay, and I'll be right back. I want to show you how I do this. So, you know, I'm kind of eyeballing this bottom corner before I really push anything down, and just massage it up to where it needs to be. Again, it's a small lip there. So pretty. And you know, I'm bringing in pattern paper, but if you don't want to, I mean, you can just keep going with papers that aren't pattern paper and it looks just as good. I think what I'm going to do though to make this pop a little bit is do a little bit of distressing. So I've been using a lot of antique linen lately, so I will use antique linen right now. I'll just go around the edges and then I'll just glue this into the center here. Okay, so I have that. Haven't decorated yet, but we will get to that in just a minute. And now I'm just going to put glue on this. If you want to use a dry adhesive, go for it. Just I'm going to place this to the very edges, you know, and then just making sure that I don't glue this shut. So I'll place it until I think the glue is holding. And as you can see, I'm not touching it yet down here. I'm kind of lining it up at the bottom here before I lay this down. That looks good. So I just go like this until it holds. And then I'll know if I've glued it shut or not. So just, you know, open it up and remove any glue that might come out, but nothing came out. And you also want to make sure, you know, your hinge is still free to do its thing. And there is our easel card. Okay, so I want to do some stamping and some die cutting of the stamps that come in the clear stamp of the month, of course. So this guy, and then we're going to make some flowers and things, but for now you want to work on the words. Again, we still have, you know, this die. If you wanted to pop something else in there, definitely play with that. I was wondering if it fits across here. Oh, kind of sticks out a little bit, but not that much. If you wanted to use that as your stopper, you know, very cute. Okay, let me clean up a little bit and think about what I want to do as far as the sentiment, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, took off my sweater. It's starting to rain, and like the atmospheric pressure changed here, or something. Something's different in here right now. But anyhow, so I'm gonna do the stamping again. Like I said, for the month, the stamp and die combo is out of stock, but you can still pick up the stamp set if you haven't enrolled yet. But if you have, then this is what you'd be getting. I'm gonna do Sending You and probably Christmas Cheer, but I don't know if I'm gonna stamp that part quite yet, so I'll wait on that one. But either way, I'm gonna do it all the same way. Let's see. I have some really, really smooth white paper, and I think I'm gonna stamp on that. And then we're gonna die cut our word, and then I'm going to heat emboss it. So I have Sending, and I'm going to leave some space because the dies aren't huge, but you know, it leaves a little ridge around there. See if I can get these both stamped at the same time. And I'll do the same thing with the sentiment word too. I just am not sure. I'd rather do these two together first. And I'm not a huge stickler on, let me put that there. Sorry, I was gonna say I'm not a huge stickler on using like the little embossing buddy, but if you have one, you can definitely use it. It helps out. I have this, I have that, and my heat tool is ready. Okay, and I'm gonna use this gold pigment ink. So again, I'm choosing to do two things at once. You don't have to do that. I'll probably stamp it twice too, because I really want this gold to come through. So. Yeah. Sometimes pigment inks can get a little bit dry, or they're not juicy enough, so you just have to keep layering it. And since it's pigment ink, it just really wants to stick, and it'll stay wet for a very long time. So I'm going to hit this with some embossing powder, and I'll do the same thing for the little sentiment. Let me cover this up before I make a mess. Clear embossing powder, and I'll just put it there and get it down to over here. I try to leave as much as you can. If you flick it on the back, it's gonna fall off, you know, a lot of that. So I just try to be gentle with it, but I do want to get the excess off. And the reason I use a coffee filter, and I usually don't even show this, is so I can pour it right back in. Pretty easy. I've been using the same coffee filter for years now. Okay, and I'm just going to hit it with the heat tool, heat set that, and I'll be right back. So pretty and juicy. And it does kind of start warping paper when you're hitting with the heat and all that, but we're going to die cut this in just a minute, but it feels so nice. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is a couple things. On this scrap area of this paper, I'm just going to trim that away. I don't need too much of it, but like this piece. Toss this. This is plenty. We're going to use this actually in another minute or so. Sending and you. Now you can look through this die and see exactly where you're cutting. You can see, really nice. I'm going to do a drop shadow in red though. So what I'm going to do is tape this down, and since I want to do a drop shadow, I'm also going to use that as like a guide for me. So I'll show you what that means. I'm just going to tape this down right here. And I think if I should cut these out. Leave yourself some room because you don't want to cut off the edge that you might need for your die. So let me show you what I mean by this. So what I normally do is I do this little aperture trick. So I'm just going to run this through real quick. And then when we do that, I created my drop shadow in red because I need this little piece here. Okay, so I'm going to use that in just a minute. But what you do now is you can move this little flap like this, and you can see through exactly where you're going to cut, and it just gives you a better idea of where you might end up cutting. And pop this back in place. Make sure it's where it's supposed to be. Kind of stick that down. I don't like to tape on my actual things, but I do want to tape it so it doesn't move too much. And now I'll run it through again. And I'll do this for the U part. And again, I'm going to be very careful since I put quite a bit of tape. Actually, I'll take the tape off from out here. And we'll get our little piece out here. Oh. Take that little piece out. But there it is. And it's cut perfectly around the lettering. And now I have my drop shadow and I have my letters. So I'll do the same thing for the other word. Okay guys, so we have our words and I'm going to drop shadow these. I'll check in a minute how I want to attach those together. But we have our card base. I'm going to bring that back. And then I went and I looked in my all aboard kit at the ephemera that's in there because I was just looking at the poinsettias and I have these and these are so pretty. So I'm going to layer these. Also, this can be by itself. But I just want to put that gold foil and just have it in the background for like texture, I think is what I'm going to do. And I have some little gold leaves that are also in that ephemera set. This is a really nice big surface to kind of play with, so that's why I want to fill it up. And I think, should I do it that way or this way? No, this way, huh? Okay, so I'm going to drop shadow top, like down a little bit. So I just like to just put glue on the back of it because I don't really know what's going to hit, And then I am going down a little bit and to the right. And I'll glue this one the same way, down a little bit and to the right. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so let's see what we have here. I'll put it down here somewhere like sending you. I think I'm going to glue that down just flat. Of course you can pop these up, whatever it is that you want to do. I think I'm going to put them right in here. Again, I just eyeball things. If you want to make sure you're straight, you can use a ruler or just pay attention to your grid lines or however. Sending and then you. And then we'll do the Christmas cheer, is that what it says? Yeah. Like looks good. And then here, I'm just going to glue down these guys. See where that is again. Something like that. I just want them to show a little more. Okay. And I'm just putting a ton of glue here. Put that guy down. I put some dimensionals on the back of this guy. I'm just putting 2. If you're going to send it, and you know, you might want to put another one just to keep it nice and sturdy where you want it. But for now, I'm just trying to see where it is that I want to put this. I want the flower to kind of play a little bit over here. Yeah. So that is my card sending you. And then we open it up right here. We're going to put a stopper and finish up the sentiment, which I will do Christmas cheer. I'm going to stamp it in gold and also emboss it, you know, just like I did before. And then I'm going to take this beautiful centerpiece, and that's going to be our stopper. I do like the way that looks. So what I'm going to do is cut this, just this background in red, this red paper, and then I will do the inlay on gold paper. And I don't know if it fits in here, does it? Ooh, look at that. That piece that we cut out of the center, it fits. So I'm going to tape these down so they don't move, and I'll just run this through. And I'll have my gold overlay, and I'll be right back. Okay. So now we have this, we have our embossed word here, and I'm just going to glue this down. Again, it has some thin areas. So pretty. So what I'm going to do is, I usually just put glue where I can, and then in these thinner areas, again, put glue in the back of my hand, like we did before, and just pat into the glue, so that every little area will have something to hold on to. And this one's going to lay right over each other because it's the same, it's an inlay on that same die, where this one you have like a little bit of an edge, and this one is just going to be right on top of itself. So I will do that, and let that set up for a second. In the meantime, while it's setting up, I'm just going to cut this with scissors, just eyeballing it and as straight as I can. So like here, that's pretty good. And just square it off, and we're going to pop that on there. Okay, so on the back of this I put a few dimensionals, just making sure this is straight since I turned it over. And alright, we have that Christmas cheer. And when you go to stand it up, now I could also cut another inlay to go in here, you know, it just depends on what you want to do. And I think the best place for this to be is like right in here. I'm not going to stick it down quite yet until I see that's where I want it to be. It's a little more over this way. Yeah, I think that's good. So I'm going to stick it down. I don't really want to press that too hard yet. And that is our stopper to keep our beautiful easel open. And look at that. Look how ornate. My goodness. So pretty. I mean, and there's still more you can do, of course. The set also has those beautiful little flowers and things like that. I'll cut out a flower just to kind of show you how to do the cinch and go, which I've shown you in the past. But this will be just a very quick one, but you can do several layers if you like. But I will be right back. I'm just going to run this through, and then I'll show you kind of how to cinch them. Okay. So you can see it has those little tiny holes, and you know, we can kind of play with these if you want to bring out like your flower forming tools and stuff like that. Let me see if I have anything. These guys are pretty small. Let's say you want to give them some shape. So I'm going to pull them in. So what I'm going to do is turn these over. It doesn't really matter. And just give them a little bit of shape. And I'm going backwards. Sorry, that one should be on the other side. And let's just use these guys. I don't know if I'm going to use all four, but I just quickly kind of wanted to show you what you can do with these. And I'll grab a couple of those flower centers. Let's do some gold. Maybe. And I like to use an odd number, so I'm going to cut these in half. Probably fire up my glue gun. But for now, I'm just kind of going to show you a little something. So let's do 1, 2, 3. The flower center is pretty small, so we'll see. And I'm going to turn them over the other way. So this is the nice side, right, that the die pushes into, and I kind of mess with them so that they go the other way. Oops, actually I need the smaller guy first. I'm trying to see if I can get 3 of these in that little center. You can spray these with water. You can, of course, manipulate them in other ways. I'm just showing you something quick here. And I'm just going to pop on the other ones too, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing you just saw through these centers, okay? And I'll be right back. I'm going to pop on 2 larger ones. Hopefully you can kind of see I got that last one in there. And I'm just going to kind of offset them a little bit. And you could pull these up as you were working with them. I'm just putting them all at once. But then after you're done with that, you can kind of just pull them up into place. And then again, like I said. So I think whenever I've seen Becca do these, she does one layer and then puts some glue, puts another layer. So I just want to quickly kind of show you the effect. And you'd have your glue in between the different layers. And then you have this cute little flower that was pretty quick to make. And then, you know, if you want to manipulate these layers in different ways, like I said, I just kind of bowed them out one way and then brought them back up a different way. But you can play with each one. And you have these little flowers you can put wherever it is that you would like to put them. Super cute. Alright guys, so thanks for watching. Thank you so much, Spellbinders, for sending these items for review. I'll have the links in the description box. Again, it's for the club sign up. You can cancel it, you know, month by month, add them. It used to be that you could skip a month, but now instead of skipping, you just cancel it, and then let's say it's something you're interested in the next month, then you just sign up again. And that's how they're handling those kind of things. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll have some images for you, links in the description box, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.